Hello and welcome to Working Wednesday. My name is Jennifer Tenney and I'm coming to you live from the Center for Excellence in Disabilities at West Virginia University in Morgantown, West Virginia. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about self-employment and Social Security disability benefits. It is possible to be self-employed and receive SSDI and SSI. While the rules can get very complicated, having your own business does not disqualify you from benefits and work incentives that go along with those benefits. We just have to look at things a little differently. Self-employment can mean a lot of things to different people, but some common types of self-employment are small business owners, independent contractors, statutory employees like life insurance salespeople or commission drivers, non-statutory employees like direct sellers or real estate agents, ministers and members of the clergy, directors of nonprofit organizations, artists, authors, and farmers. Of course, there are other categories, but these give you an idea of who Social Security classifies as self-employed. The work incentives that a person receives when working for someone else also apply to those who are self-employed. The main thing we have to remember is that unlike wage employment, where someone gets a paycheck, self-employment is very different, and we have to take into account all the different rules for determining income and owner's draw. Most importantly, when dealing with Social Security work incentives, it is important to remember that self-employed business people have business expenses that they can deduct from their gross income through the IRS rules before determining their net earnings from self-employment. It is these net earnings from self-employment amount that we use to determine things like substantial gainful activity, or SGA. And remember, just like with wage employment, the work incentives are different for SSDI and SSI and remain that way for self-employed individuals. One thing that is really important to remember when you are self-employed is you need to track your business, the time you spend working on your business and your business expenses, because that matters when determining trial work period and extended period of eligibility for those who are on SSDI. For example, a person uses a trial work month if net earnings from self-employment are over the trial work period amount, or if the person works 80 hours or more in their business, regardless of profit made or lost. People who are self-employed also have different rules for reaching SGA other than from net earnings from self-employment. These things include working through your how much your time commits to self-employment, how much you work compared to someone who is being paid to work the same position, and so on. As you can see, it can get very complicated. So it is important, if you are self-employed, that you contact a community work incentives coordinator right away to get some assistance with understanding your work incentives and how your benefits may be affected by your work. But remember, self-employed individuals are able to receive benefits and do have work incentives that they are eligible for when working. These also include specific work incentives for people who are self-employed, such as unincurred business expenses and unpaid help. Again, these are work incentives only for those who are self-employed, so if you are self-employed, it's really important that you contact a WIPA Community Work Incentives Coordinator before you go any further with your business, so that you can make sure that your benefits are being adjusted properly, so that we don't have anything like overpayment or any kind of problems along the way. Before we close out 2020, I would like to take a minute to let you know the new 2021 guidelines for the Social Security disability thresholds and the new SSI amounts. For 2021, the trial work period amount will be $940 gross wages a month. Substantial gainful activity, or SGA, will be considered at $1,310 gross wages a month for non-blind individuals and $2,190 gross wages a month for blind individuals. SSI will increase to $794 a month for individuals and $1,191 a month for couples, with the resource limits remaining the same for both categories. That's $2,000 a month for an individual and $3,000 a month for a couple. Finally, Medicare Part B monthly premiums will increase to $148.50 a month in 2021. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and remain safe in the coming year. Please join me in January 2021 for another edition of Working Wednesday. Take care, and I'll see you next year.